Welcome in everybody to another episode of the KnicksNation podcast. This is episode 5, and from last week to this week, things can change in a blink of an eye. And the New York Knicks, coming off 3-game losing streaks last week to now winning another 3 games, it has been incredible. It has been an incredible season. But first and foremost, I'm here joined by my co-host Chris. Chris, what's going on, man?
Feeling good again, man. Feeling good. Like you said, in a blink of an eye, things just change. Feeling good. You know, Knicks are rolling right now and just got to keep that momentum. How are you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good myself. You know, the Knicks won 9 straight games. We were all on cloud 9. And then, there was a bit of, I wouldn't say panic, but people were like kind of concerned a little bit when the Knicks lost those 3 games. They started off the West Coast trip 0-2 with losses against the Kings and the Clippers. And, that was coming off a loss at home versus the Hornets. And people were like, look, we're just coming off this 9-game winning streak. This is kind of, doesn't feel right? It doesn't feel, Nick-ish. We've had such a great season. And then, boom, Chris, you go on to L.A., national televised vehicle, beat the Lakers, beat the Blazers, and then beat the Nuggets at home in Madison Square Garden. So now the Knicks are 12 games over 500 at 42-30, feeling good, Chris. And, I guess we could start with, it started with the Laker game. Everyone was playing well and everyone was clicking. Julius Randle had a great game. RJ Barrett was having a great game. This was without Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson returned versus the Denver Nuggets, and we can get into that. But, Chris, I mean, to start the West Coast trip 0-2 and then to finish it off by winning 2 straight games. That's, in my opinion, that was huge.
So yeah, 2-2 was huge for the Knicks. The way they started that trip, it could have went either way, in my opinion. It was good. Knicks got really solid performance coming back in that Laker game. That game was a back and forth affair. And with Portland, another game where, the Knicks just overall played well. And you're seeing contributions from everybody, Randall, RJ Barrett's playing well now. And the bench, when we're going to guys like Deuce McBride, who had a big game recently,
True.
Everybody is just stepping up. And you love to see it, especially at this time when we're getting close to playoffs.
You do. And, you bring up Deuce McBride, and versus the Portland Trailblazers, he had a career high, I believe, 18 points versus him. And he was simply incredible, blocking shots, playing great defense. Everyone is stepping up, and, it just started with Jericho Sims in place of Mitchell Robinson early on in the season. Jericho Sims was playing well in place of Mitchell Robinson. And then now you have Deuce McBride filling in the role of Jalen Brunson, who was playing spectacular. You had Mike Breen quoted in that game saying if Deuce McBride got extended minutes, he would definitely be in the running for an all NBA defensive team because his defense is just absurd. Like, he gets after it on the ball. His on-ball defense is absurd. And, shout out to Deuce McBride. The Knicks are continuing to groom him into a fine young player. And, he's just, people say that, we have trouble developing guys, but Deuce McBride, Manuel Quickley, Mitchell Robinson, Quentin Grimes, Chris, these guys are being developed behind the scenes, and we're seeing the flourishments from them. I mean, Grimes has had a nice year. He's staying healthy. Emmanuel Quickley, I mean, enough said.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Quickley's having a 6th man of the year type of year, incredible year. Mitchell Robinson's having a bounce back year after, he got paid this past summer. He's playing amazing. And then obviously now Deuce McBride. Who would have thought? I mean, Chris, Deuce was a 2nd-round pick. And, if you were to tell me that if he were to play extended minutes in the NBA, he would have an impact, I would have last season. He's shown this last season a little bit, but I wouldn't have thought this at all. So Deuce has surprised me. But yeah, to ending the West Coast trip 2-2 was, very key. It was because you have the Cavs and the Nets. During that time, they were, winning. And now the Nets have fallen back a little bit, and the Cavs are, starting to win. But, I mean, we can get into their schedules later on in the pod. But, yeah, man, to end this West Coast trip 2-2, and then the Knicks had 3 games off. So Jalen Brunson didn't play the Laker game, the Clipper game, the Blazer game. So and then the Knicks had 3 days off in between the Nugget game, so he had about 8 days of rest. And then Jalen Brunson returns versus Denver Nuggets and looks like he didn't lose a step at all. I mean, he was simply balling out. Jalen Brunson has been simply incredible all season long, and we're 2-0 versus the Denver Nuggets, who are the best team in the West, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep, number one.
They're number one in the West, and the Knicks have beaten them twice. What does this mean? Does this mean we can beat anybody? Because we can. We can beat anybody.
I mean, I'll say the same thing that Julia said not too long ago. We can beat anybody and we can lose to anybody.
Yeah,
that's what it seems like it is. But I mean, no, this is a good Knicks team. I know it's hard for some fans to kind of go all in on how good we are as a team. You know, this is without a quote unquote superstar and all, but this is it, guys. Enjoy this. We are a good basketball team. Nobody's gonna want to play us come playoff time, and we're rolling. We could lose a couple games, and this team just has to fight to come back and win another 3-4.
Yeah. You say we don't have a superstar, but we have just guys playing well, meshing well together. I mean, if anything's closest to a superstar, it's Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. But those two are just playing at such a high level, and it's bringing up everyone's play across the board. We just hope that Jalen Brunson's foot thing doesn't nag and linger. He says he's good, but yeah, man, we beat the Nuggets twice. Boston Celtics, we beat them 3 times. We beat Philadelphia this year. Cleveland, we can beat anyone in the Eastern Conference. The playoffs are in about a month, and things are getting really exciting in Madison Square Garden. The sky's the limit. I'm looking forward to the playoffs, Chris. I mean, I just can't wait until they get here. But speaking of that, let's just take a look at the standings, right? The Knicks are 5th in the East. They are 2.5 games behind the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs are 7-3 in their last 10 games. The Knicks are 7-3 in their last 10 games. Brooklyn has sort of fallen off a bit. They've lost 2 in a row, so the Knicks are 2 full games ahead of the Brooklyn Nets. The magic number is 4 to clinch a play-in berth. The magic number is 9 to clinch a top 6 seed. The magic numbers are starting to come out here, Chris, and it's looking like we're going to get a top 6 seed, right? Whether it's 5 or 6, I'm going to guess we stay in the 5th seed. But 10 games remaining. The Knicks are 1 game away from surpassing their second most win total in over 20 years, which is absurd.
Incredible.
Like, that's over 2 decades. They won 54 games in 2012 and 2013. And, their last time that they won over 42 games before that was in 2001. So just to put that in perspective, which is
pain.
Yeah, I mean, that's just to show you how much pain we've endured as Knicks fans. And Chris, man, things are looking up. I'm excited.
Way up. Oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait for playoffs. I mean, we got a taste of it the last time with the Atlanta series. How the Garden was rocking. Well, I can't wait for that feeling again.
Yeah, I can't wait indeed. And, coming out of this All-Star break, we had questions about RJ Barrett in particular. And Chris, RJ Barrett has picked up his game here lately. He's had blow-up games against the Boston Celtics with 29 points, Charlotte Hornets 27 points, at the Kings 25 points, at the Lakers 30 points, Blazers 22 points, and then the Nuggets 21 points. Chris, he's looking more and more comfortable in this offense, and he's finishing around the rim. And, his three-point shot hasn't been great over his last, 10 games. He's averaging, just below 21% from 3. So it's looking like he's, kind of avoiding shooting the three-point shot and driving to the basket, Chris. And, if he can continue to do that, he's been playing really well for the Knicks.
Yeah. RJ has been, I know those point totals are 20s, 30s, but yeah, it's been kind of like a quiet 20-30 from RJ. And surprisingly, this has happened mostly with no Jalen Brunson. So, Kind of leads to what I've been hearing a lot of lately is that, maybe RJ's just lost trying to figure out, how can he, impact games when Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle both on the court.
Yeah.
Um, but I think, like you said, he's been a little hesitant to shoot the three ball, which I think, in my opinion, is good. He's not a knockdown 3-point shooter. Can he knock them down from time to time? Yes, he does make, big corner threes at times, but the main focus for him should be getting to the paint and finishing, drawing contact, you know, and we've been seeing that. Only difference now is it looks like he's finishing almost at will now. So, sometimes he's still very inefficient, but he's been overall playing a really good game. And you're even seeing him starting to pull up from mid range, which is not something we see a lot from RJ.
Yeah.
So I think he is getting more comfortable, and hopefully now with Brunson back, it all just translates and it continues to go.
Yeah. Especially with Brunson back, to me, he just, RJ was just trying to find his spot in this offense pretty much the whole year, and he's been up and down. Yeah, he's had his struggles. I mean, he's still kind of struggling from three. Still, he's finishing at the rim, but sometimes you watch his game and you're just like, bro, just finish. Come on, man. It's a layup, bro. Just finish at the rim. And, he's sort of, it's just he gets to the rim. I mean, he gets to the rim at will. He uses his body in different ways. He knows how to, you know, weave in and out of traffic, spins and pivots and do all this stuff. But he makes shots around the rim, and he's been playing really well for the Knicks along with Randall and the bench unit. Josh Hart a few days ago put a picture on IG saying that this is the bench mob, and he's embracing his role. This is a guy who started every single game for Portland, and now he's coming in off the bench for the Knicks. And I can't say enough good things about him. He's just been incredible for this Knicks team ever since we acquired him. But he's embracing his role. The bench mob is back, Chris. The bench mob is back. Josh Hart, Emmanuel Quickly. Then you have even RJ Barrett is coming in off the bench when he's getting subbed in and out. And Isaiah Hardenstein, too. Got to give his flowers, too. Hardenstein has been playing really well after a rough stretch early on in the season. Chris, this bench mob, what Josh Hart calls it. I don't know if I want to call it that, but wasn't that what we called the 2013 teams, the bench mob?
Yeah, actually, it was.
But yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, it's those vibes, It's those same type of vibes. I mean, and you love it when the players come out, they're labeling themselves. It just shows you that they're gonna bring it every single night. You can't just go out there and call yourself bench mob and then go out there and just play like crap. So I mean, I love it. I mean, Josh Hart has been a godsend for us. I mean, nobody could have imagined this type of impact. I mean, he totally, he saved our bench basically. And he revived guys like Obi. He unlocked Obi for us in the same manner. It's kind of crazy in the same manner that the Rose trade did initially for us. Just what a pickup.
At the time, we were saying it, where they needed a spark off the bench, and Hart just great move out of the Knicks front office by acquiring Josh Hart. Simply, unlocked the bench unit, and he's been playing a huge part of the 9-game winning streak, huge part of the Knicks' success here at the end of towards the back end of the All-Star break. And 10 games remaining, Chris. We have some, I wouldn't say gimmies since we lost to the Charlotte Hornets a couple of weeks ago in Madison Square Garden, but I would say some trap games coming up. We have the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are probably going to be without Anthony Edwards, who hurt his ankle, and then we have two more games against the Miami Heat, which are pretty huge considering the fact that Miami's outside the top 6 looking in, and probably wants to beat the New York Knicks to get in the top 6. So if we could split those games, I think we'll be okay. 10 games remaining, Chris. Minnesota Timberwolves, Miami Heat, Magic, Houston, Miami, and then March 31st, you have the matchup against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Man, if the Knicks get like a game behind Cleveland or a game and a half behind Cleveland before that matchup, Chris, that probably would be a tremendous matchup, and that's probably going to be your first round matchup like we've been saying here. So that'll probably be like a litmus test, like a sort of test before the real thing about what
Yep.
you'll get between those teams. And then we end the season with the Wizards, Pacers, Pelicans, and then the Pacers again. Season is dwindling down here quick. 10 games remaining. The Knicks have played 72 games already, which is kind of, I say already because the season is just flying by. But
Yeah.
then, yeah, man. So, what are your expectations here? These final 10 games, and where do you see the Knicks finishing? Do you see them just sticking fifth seed, fourth? Do you see them passing Cleveland? Do you see them getting ahead of Cleveland? And then, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, my expectations is let's finish the season strong. Let's not go on some crazy losing streak. Have the vibes all down. My most important thing is finish strong and most importantly, stay healthy. Hopefully, we can keep all these guys healthy. We just got Brunson back, and I'd like to keep it that way.
Yeah.
I think right now the Knicks are firmly in that 5 seed. I think that's where they're gonna end up most likely. We were talking about this earlier, where Cleveland has a pretty easy schedule. So in comparison to like the Nets or even us, I know
Super
ours
easy.
isn't that tough, but we got some like you said, some possible trap games coming up.
Yeah.
So I think the Knicks overall will stay in that fifth seed, and we're most likely going to be matched up with the Cavs, who again I like the matchup. It gives you that good storyline. The whole Donovan Mitchell could have been a Knick.
Mm-hmm.
It just looks like that's coming, and come playoff time, it's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be nuts, but I like our chances against the Cleveland Cavaliers. We just seem to match up well and play them well. So, you know. Oh, and we also have Brunson, who historically torched Donovan Mitchell
Yeah.
back in his Dallas days.
Yeah. Just last season. Last season during the playoffs, he torched them. But yeah, I like our matchup. Like, this Knicks team has surprised us all year long. We've beaten great teams. We just beat the Denver Nuggets first in the
Yep.
West. You know, we've beaten mediocre teams. We've lost to bad teams. We've lost to great teams. On any given night, anyone can get got. That's my philosophy. And then playoffs, you bring in Brunson, a guy with experience, a guy who's done it before, a guy who pretty much carried the Dallas Mavericks last season, and that's what excites me the most, because if we didn't have Brunson, I would be like, okay, we'll see what happens. It'll probably be a first round exit, but no, this year is different. Brunson is here. Brunson has just elevated our play to the next level, and uh, you know, who's to say, man? Who's to say we can't win a couple of rounds? Who's to say we can't win
Yeah.
a round or a round, 2 rounds, get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then who knows? I'm not predicting it, but it is possible. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not out of the realm of possibilities, because
It's not
it's
it's not crazy, Knicks fans. It's not crazy at all. I
no,
mean, you've seen it. We beat the Nuggets, you know.
yeah,
We beat the Nuggets, the top team in the West. Um, you know, we've pretty much beaten almost every team above us in the standings at least once. You know,
yeah,
it's not out of the realm of possibility that the Knicks can make a pretty deep playoff run.
and it's not like
The
our
way that we're playing,
yeah, it's not like our guys have no playoff experience, like Obi, quickly, you know, those guys have their playoff experience. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens. But yeah, going back to the Cavs schedule, super ridiculously easy. They have Brooklyn twice coming up here, then the Rockets, then Orlando twice, and the Hornets. So their schedule is easy. So it's going to be tough for the Knicks to overtake them, but anything can happen. But
yeah.
yeah, right now it's looking like a first round matchup versus the Cavs. It's just whether or not we're home for an extra game or they're home for an extra game. But we're a great road team, Chris, so it's not going to matter, in my opinion.
Road Warriors.
Road Warriors. New York Knicks are road warriors. But yeah, the New York Knicks are road warriors, and it's not like they can go to Cleveland and win a couple of games in Cleveland. They've shown it before. They've shown it all season. They play better on the road than they have at home. So whether we're the fifth seed or the fourth seed, to me, it would be nice to have that Game 7 in Madison Square Garden. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the atmosphere will be electric. But, still got some games here, so we shall see. They could hop them. They could just stay where they're at. But, what's getting lost in all of this, Chris, is also we have a team out west that we own their first-round pick, and that team goes by the name of the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks traded for Kyrie Irving thinking that he would elevate their play, right? He would, elevate them in the top 3, top 4 in the Western Conference. And Chris, that just has not happened.
It's crazy, right? I mean, on paper, it looked scary. I mean, Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
I know there's only one basketball, but that still sounded pretty damn scary. And these two guys, they're really good. Kyrie, when he's playing basketball, he's amazing.
Yeah.
And you saw it recently too. If anybody peeped that Dallas Laker game, he single-handedly won Dallas that game. Unfortunately,
the crazy thing is that jumped them. I don't know. Last week, the Knicks. This was actually like a lottery pick, and this. If you don't know the information about this pick, the Dallas Mavericks own. It is top 10 protected. So if it lands in the top 10, the New York Knicks will not get that pick. I believe it just goes to the next year, and then. But yeah, the Dallas Mavericks keep the pick if it's top 10. Right now, it is looking like 18th, but this got as high as like 12, 11. So things can change in the blink of an eye in the West. Mavs have won 2 straight games, and now that pick jumped from 11, 12 to now 18, which is kind of nuts. The Western Conference is just absurd. Like every team is like within 1 or 2 games from one another. Which is crazy, but yeah, I mean, if the Dallas Mavericks lose the next couple of games, they can hop all the way back up to 11, 12. And then could you imagine if the Knicks land the 11th pick? Like, it's top 10 protected. We have this great season. We win a couple of rounds. Everything's looking positive in the summer. Everyone's,
what more can you ask
no
for?
negativity. And then we have the 11th pick in the upcoming juggernaut draft.
Yep. This draft is a deep draft, and that pick would be, whether we were to use it or flip it for a superstar, I mean, it'll be great to have. And you gotta hope for Dallas too.
Would you use it or would you flip it?
I don't know. I'm always the type where you gotta, a draft pick that high, you kind of have to use it, see what you can get at least for it first. There might be a player out there that you can groom and make a homegrown superstar out of. I mean, this team has showed it. It's not like in the past where we don't develop guys. You got, Quickly, for example, Deuce, like you mentioned earlier, Obi. I mean, I know he plays limited minutes, but the growth is still there. Guess you can't knock Tibbs for that anymore. Not developing players and, not being an offensive coach even, but I think with this Knicks team, I trust them in the draft. I trust them, grabbing somebody who's going to be of impact. And if we get an 11, 12, 13 pick in this draft coming up, I think you gotta keep it. But that depends on who's available at the time. Superstars get disgruntled. You never know who's going to want out of their team. And it might be, a situation where we can take that pick and just be like, hey, we'll give you a couple more for X, Y, and Z guy. Who that is, I don't know, but it's a win-win in my eyes. What do you think?
Chris is coming for all the slings and arrows, saying that, I guess we can say that Tom Thibodeau doesn't develop players anymore. Blah, blah, blah. What do you got to say about that, Knicks fans? Chris is coming for all the smoke right now.
Hey, man. You know what?
I didn't say it. Chris said it.
I'll admit it.
Tom Thibodeau guys.
I was one of those.
Tom Thibodeau haters, go after Chris.
Hey, I was one of those.
No, but Tibbs, yeah.
Hey, I'm not saying he won me over, but I can admit when I was wrong.
Yeah, Tom Thibodeau has been, simply great this whole season. To turn the Knicks season around has been incredible. I mean, can't say nothing but positive things about him. He's had his lumps in the season, but yeah, if Yeah, you got to keep the pick, man. I mean, last season the Knicks traded the pick to open up some cap space for Jalen Brunson, and that I think that pick turned out to be Jalen Duran, who's like the youngest player in the NBA. He was picked by the Detroit Pistons, and after that pick was actually, I believe, Jalen Williams, who's on the Oklahoma City Thunder, who's actually having a great season. So
Yeah, yeah,
in a year where they're predicting this to be the deepest draft class the NBA has seen in a while, if the New York Knicks can get the 11th, 12th, 13th pick, that pick, you're keeping it. I don't care. I mean, of course, it depends who's in. It would have to be like, man, like it would have to be like Joel Embiid is available this summer, which is a possibility. But
yeah.
let's say the
Paul
Philadelphia Paul. No, I'm not trading that. I'm not trading that pick for Paul George. I'm sorry, I'm not.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I would give them
Paul
other
George,
picks.
It's not the same Paul George, but
I mean,
definitely, yeah. I think we could get that done with other picks.
Yeah, like a Joel Embiid and someone like that. But yeah, if it's like 10, if it's 11 through 15, I'm not trading it. I'm not. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm not like. And then maybe the Knicks can work out a trade so you can open up some playing time for that player, but we shall see. But yeah, what's getting lost in all this, and just wanted to bring that up, is the Dallas Maverick pick is looking more and more juicy as we close the season. Right now, it is 18th overall. A few days ago, this was up to 12, 13, like I said. So it is worth keeping an eye on. So we just shall see. What's also interesting, Chris, is after the Portland game, we had some comments from one of the Knicks players. Mitchell Robinson came out, voiced his frustrations a little bit. We probably won't touch on this a lot, but he came out, voiced his frustrations on Snapchat. I put a video about it, giving my thoughts. And then a couple of days later, he came out on Instagram, commented on Knicks Fan TV, and pretty much said, "Look, he's going through a lot. He's having a baby soon, and he's just going through a lot. He's stressed out." So, Chris, what I mean, after the game, after a big Knicks win, it just sucks that he came out and said those comments, but he later retracted them. So, what are your thoughts on Mitchell Robinson's comments, and then he later responded to everyone's criticism about those comments?
Yeah, I mean, it was unfortunate in my opinion. Like you said, we came off of a nice win, nice team win at that, and you had Mitch kind of saying, "Hey man, I'm out here for cardio, I'm just running around doing nothing," type of deal. And I get it. I mean, it must be exhausting to play defense, and he obviously wants to get involved in the offense. He's probably missing. They're probably missing him at times for lobs and things like that. But I mean, just with the vibes of the team, the season that we're having, it's unfortunate to hear a player, go that route and say, "Oh man, I'm just out here basically doing nothing," defending and then doing nothing after that. So it did bring me down a notch. The vibes kind of got killed a bit over it, but at the same time, I didn't want to kill Mitch because, and I think you mentioned this in your video, and for those of you that haven't checked that out, please go over and watch that video. Because you mentioned, you don't know what these guys are going through in the NBA.
Yeah.
A lot of fans like to forget that, they're not just NBA players. They're human beings with their own lives, their own drama. We view them as, first and foremost, Knicks players, but they got things going on themselves, So
we're all human.
I feel, yeah, we're all human. I feel for Mitch, and hopefully he's all right. I know he mentioned wanting to get in a better headspace, and I hope he does that. And Mitch, if you ever want to, vent, give an update or something, please feel free to hop on the pod, man. Come join us here.
Open invitation to Mitch if he's ever watching or listening.
Somebody send this to Mitch.
Yeah,
but no,
I
hope he gets into the right headspace, and we need Mitch. Mitch is important for us, And hey, man, if they can get Mitch more involved in the offense, that only helps us even more. Because I do feel that there's a bit of untapped potential there, but I think Mitch has even, mentioned that this is the way the Knicks want him to play at this moment. Whether we'll ever see Mitch taking 3-pointers or, driving, dunking, that's up to the coaching staff. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. Shout out to Mitchell Robinson for, coming on and explaining those comments. And we're all young. We're all human. So he just made a mistake and he admitted it. But Chris, let's get nerdy, man.
Oh, let's do it.
Let's get nerdy. Last week we brought up some stats for the New York Knicks, and they're still last in the NBA in terms of assists per game, 3-point percentage. They're working their way up, Chris. They're now 22nd in the NBA at shooting 34% from three, so they're improving the 3-point shooting, which is huge.
Better than being last or close to last.
Yeah, rebounding. They've been one of the best rebounding teams in the NBA. They are still second in the NBA at 12.7 rebounds a game. They're still second in the NBA in terms of NBA offensive rebounding per game. Mitchell Robinson has a Harden sign, and the acquisition of Josh Hart has dramatically improved those numbers. Turnovers per game, they are one of the best teams in the NBA in terms of turning the ball over, Chris. I mean, where do you think they rank in terms of turnovers per game?
They got. I say 5.
Oh, they're fourth. They're fourth in the NBA.
Hey,
pretty close.
There we go.
They're only turning the ball over 12.9 times a game, and that's been a huge catalyst for their success. They're not turning the ball over. They're rebounding the basketball. They're playing well as a team. This is interesting. The last 2 weeks, field goals made per game. The Knicks have one guy in the top 25 in this category. And who do you think it is, Chris? Field goals made per game. Last 2 weeks. Coming out of the All-Star break. Yeah. RJ Barrett is 25th. He's averaging 8.67 field goals per game. That's more than Julius Randle, which is incredible. RJ Barrett's been playing. He's been playing well, man. He's bounced back. So shout out to RJ Barrett for playing well and bouncing back after receiving all of the heat that he has been receiving.
Oh, calling out the Knicks fans. He's saying I didn't believe in RJ.
All right. Now we have the NBA standings projections. Knicks have 10 games left. So TeamRankings.com is projecting the Knicks to finish with 48 wins. So they're projecting the Knicks to go 8-2 over their last 10 games. Wow. That gives them that locks them up pretty much. 99.9% chance of making the playoffs. 1.4% chance of winning the NBA championship. Why do this gives the Brooklyn Nets a better chance to win the NBA championship than the Knicks? Come on, guys. You got to fix that.
They must have forgot that KD is no longer there.
Yeah, I know. You got to fix that. Come on, bro.
What's up with that?
But yeah, the Knicks are 20-16 at home, 22-14 on the road. 3 straight winning streak after losing 3 straight games. So, Chris, 10 games left, and they're projecting us to go 48 wins. So, 8-2 over our last 10, which is pretty good in my opinion. Let's just look at the Cleveland, what they're projecting Cleveland. They're projecting Cleveland to get to 51 wins. So,
okay.
And then Cleveland has a 9% chance on winning the NBA championship. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough for the Knicks to overtake Cleveland. But if you were to ask me what do I think is going to happen, is that the Knicks finish 5th and Cleveland stays in the 4. And then we have a first-round matchup against the Cleveland Cavaliers, with Cleveland having home court advantage, which, like I said, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Home or away, the Knicks have shown this season that they come to play. And Cleveland, get ready, man. Get ready. We're coming.
Yeah. I'm telling you right now, if the New York Knicks beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round,
oh man,
I'm going to go crazy.
It'll be beautiful.
I'm probably
Donovan Mitchell requested a trade.
I'm going to find every Donovan Mitchell. Knicks should have traded for Donovan Mitchell tweet, and I'm going to pin it every single day. I'm going to pin the tweet if the New York Knicks beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round of the playoffs. I'm going to screenshot I'm going to find everything. I'm going to send it to what's that Twitter account that gives you the worst takes or whatever. I'm going to send it to them, and I'm going to make sure they retweet it every single day, because that's all we heard all summer when we didn't trade for Donovan Mitchell. That's all we heard.
Yeah. On the flip side, we got to be ready to hear it too. If the
come on, Chris.
I'm just saying, man.
I don't want to hear none of that. We're beating them.
Yeah, you know what? No, we're gonna win no matter what.
Beating them,
right?
Bro.
Then Donovan's gonna ask for a trade in the offseason to the Knicks.
We don't want him. We don't want you no more. You're from New York. We don't want you. Sorry, stay in Cleveland. Like Joakim Noah said 10 years ago. Cleveland? What is there to do in Cleveland?
Oh, man. Joakim Noah. I get bad memories there.
Yeah.
He was a Knicks. He was a Knick.
I'm sorry for being.
Is he still a Knick? Are we still paying him?
Yeah, I think we are. I think we are.
Like, who aren't we paying? You know.
I'm interested. I think we extended.
I think we're still paying D'Antoni.
This is the last season we're paying Joakim Noah.
Oh my gosh! I can't believe we're still paying him.
$6 million. This is the last season we're playing Joakim Noah. Give it up for Joakim Noah for stealing money from the New York Knicks organization. Shout out to Joakim
Still,
Noah.
To this day. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Oh boy. That was funny.
That's the only Knicks thing right there. That's for sure. If you wanna, that's getting nerdy right there.
Yeah, that is. If you didn't know, this is the last year we're paying Joakim Noah, and then his contract comes off our books. And then in 2 years,
that's the stats you gotta know.
And then next summer we can sign Jaylen Brown. Ooh, we're not ready for that conversation.
I like that.
Yeah, not ready for that. We got off the deep end there a little bit, but I guess we should call our last 10 minutes the deep end. Whoever lasts the last 10 minutes of the podcast, let us know in the comments. Make sure you guys give us a rating on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Podcast every week. Playoffs are coming, man. Get hyped. It's going to be an interesting time. It's 10 games, man. 10 freaking games. Let's go.
Let's do it, Knicks fans. We're here.
Maybe we should start. Maybe we should. We here?
We're here.
Are we gonna do the same? Are we gonna? Is that gonna be our same saying this season?
No, we need something new. We still here.
We still here. We arrived. I like that. We arrived. Maybe we'll give something away during these deep ends. If they last all the way through these podcasts, maybe, the last 10 minutes, if you guys last, we'll give something away later on down the road. Maybe a Starbucks gift card, or who knows?
Starbucks, Dunkin', whatever they into,
So this is why you guys got to keep listening all the way through, because you never know.
Send us some questions,
The Knicks Nation hat, whenever I drop those.
They're waiting for mine.
Yeah, Chris is still waiting for his, but it's coming soon, so we shall see.
Coming soon, guys.
Yeah, that's going to wrap up episode 5 of the Knicks Nation pod. From Chris, I'm Anthony. Appreciate you guys listening all the way through. Once again, this has been fun, man. Playoffs are coming soon. 10 games left in the season, and we shall see, man. Knicks are surprising us all, and they've just been playing amazing. This has been an amazing time to be a New York Knicks fan. Yes, indeed.
Enjoy it, Knicks fans. Enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. You never know what next season is gonna bring. Enjoy while we got it.
Yeah, enjoy it for sure. And this has been a great season. But yeah, until next week, once again, appreciate you guys for watching. And as always, Chris,
let's go Knicks.
It is Let's Go Knicks. Have a good night. Have a good day. Have a good night wherever you are. If you're listening overseas, It's been incredible. Appreciate every single one of you. And have a good day. Peace.